G'day. This is a bedside table, or nightstand for my American friends. You might know it as a great place to put a cup of water or somewhere to store your prophylactics. Now my old ones, they don't fit with the new wardrobe. Yeah, that's not going to work. So I'm going to build some new ones, but something a bit more elegant and interesting. A good project needs some guidelines, so I set myself 4. Number 1, it needs to fit the space, obviously. Number 2, I want it to be minimal with just one small drawer, so I don't chuck in loads of stuff like this kangaroo claw opener or baseball glove. I don't even play baseball. Number 3, I need to use wood that I already have. And number 4, I have to try something new. Now my first thought was to use these planks and go for something planky. But to be honest, I kind of felt like I was wasting a good plank. The runner-up were these panels of Tasmanian Oak, which a friend gave me as a thank you for driving 1,000 Ks to give him a builder's vice during a fuel crisis. Worth it? Definitely. They weren't as wide as I'd like, and a few were cupping, but I had just enough for 2 tables, so I may as well use them. Let's begin. So this build will basically consist of an open box forming a shelf at the bottom and a simple drawer slotted in at the top. Once I figured out which side came from which panel, I could then start cutting. First, I'm going to square up one side on all the panels. And then I'll use the sleds with stop blocks to cut the final pieces to size so they're all exactly the same. When all was said and done, the final dimensions ended up being 360mm wide, 580mm high and 260mm deep, which only just fit the space. Now there's a number of ways to join this all together. At first I thought I'd do a splined miter joint, kind of like my jewelry box, but I didn't think the miter would come together with the cupping. I thought about rabbets and double rabbets, but that seemed unnecessary. Eventually I settled on the humble butt joint, with some dowels for extra strength. It's the no frills, honest approach which will let me showcase the end grain of the vertical panels as a bit of a feature. So here I'm using a dowel jig to drill all the holes. I'm setting off the front edge as a reference point and working my way towards the back, using the last hole to locate the jig. I reckon some of you might think that woodworking is this relaxing world, backed by cool lo-fi music where everything just works. Here's an alternate reality. I'm drilling 96 holes with the last remnants of a flute clogging my face. I'm tired and I'm just about to bash my hand. I then realised I didn't drill the holes deep enough for the dowels. The next day, after drilling all the holes out, I find my edges aren't square because I just didn't check the blade first. So I'm going to have to fix that one up as well. You know, not every day in the workshop goes smoothly, but it does make the good days seem even better. Now that I have the outer box dry fit together, I can start on the drawers. The best wood I have for the drawer is 90mm wide by 12mm thick. But before I use that, I made this quick MDF prototype just to see how it would look. And I reckon that's pretty good. Now I'm not going to use any nails or screws to fix the drawer together, so for additional strength I'm going to cut a rabbet on the sides, which is a good way to give yourself some extra surface area for the glue to bond with. I had a small sheet of 3mm marine ply left over from a different project and I'll use that for the bottom plate. I thought about rebating and gluing it to the underside just to maximise the drawer height, but that wouldn't allow the solid timber to move. Instead I'll do it the traditional way and float the bottom plate in the groove. When it came time to cut the bottom, I took a mill off all the sides so that it would move freely in the groove, hence the term floating. Now I haven't made this drawer with a lot of space to fit in the box, so I'm going to go for a traditional drawer slide. The easy option would be to just glue and screw a rail to the side, but instead I thought it would be more elegant to rebate them in. So I whipped up this, a square router guide with a stop box so the groove wouldn't go through the front edge. And that worked really well. But then I completely ignored the correct routing direction and general practice of making shallow cuts first, resulting in this. Luckily this table is mine, but if I was selling this piece I'd have to do it again. For me, making is all about momentum. It's a flow, and whenever I have a mistake it kind of gets the better of me. You could call that pride, or maybe I'm just emotional. In either case, I've learnt over the years to get going again you need a win. An easy task which takes your mind off the problem and keeps the project moving forward. So I'm just going to take a moment to glue these drawers together and finish prepping the runners for the grooves. With the drawers glued, I can now cut the groove for the runner. I thought about using the router for this, but I'm not quite over yesterday's schmozzle. And I also want it to be 1mm wider than the runner, which should stop it from binding up if the wood moves. So the table saw just made more sense. Now that everything is made, I can accurately measure the total width, including the gap, and then take off 1mm so it again had a bit of growing room. Well, in theory anyway. You know the drill. Measure twice and cut twice. I thought about compression fitting the runners since the fit was so tight, but figured a bit of glue couldn't hurt, just in case. Now I know I've said a few contradictory things so far, and this next one is no exception. Never rush a glue up. Some might say it's the most stressful time in a woodworker's life. Usually I like to be prepared, but today is Friday and I'm pretty eager to get out of town for the weekend, so I'm going to do the exact opposite. Now remember when I told you the boards were cupped? Well, a few gaps were to be expected. Not to worry, I'm just going to let the sander do the talking and I'll fill the gaps with a bit of glue and sawdust. A little while back I did this niguri pattern on a chair. If you haven't watched the video you can check it out here. It was pretty cool. But since then I've really wanted to explore texture a whole lot more. So I did a bit of testing just to see what was possible. And out of everything, the clear winner to me was this wandering sequence of parallel lines. It was kind of similar to the trails wood borers make under bark. And since I'm not a beetle, I'm going to use the router with a bowl bit to do this. So put on your Crocs and pull up your socks. It's carving time. I've never carved freehand like this with a router, and I was pretty surprised by how nimble and effective it could be. So I guess that ticks the try something new box. The best part about carving freehand was that it allowed the bit to be directed by the grain. Kind of in the same way a borer moves around a tree. And while I crack on with this sanding, let me ask you a question. How much wood would a wood borer want if a wood borer wanted more wood? If you like that one, hit subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, we're almost there. All I have to do now is cut the drawer front down to size. That should be simple, right? Not quite. as is often the case, the smallest things can have the biggest impact. First I tried the full-size panel, since I had it, but that didn't make much sense with the small drawer behind it. What about that old stalwart of design? You know, the rule of thirds. It's not quite right either. It just feels a little too big. You know, the problem is my mind wants to go back to the original idea, the plank, but that now looks too small. Let's pause that. Yeah, that's a good idea. You can't make a decision when you don't have all the facts. And the fact of the matter is, I still need to do a round over on the front edges, you know, to soften that narrow appearance. So I'm hoping, once I see that, I'll know what the front wants to be. I was planning on doing a larger radius, which is why I didn't put a dowel at the front edge. But this small 12mm roundover has done the trick, so I'll stick with that. But now, even with all the information, I couldn't decide. It just didn't feel quite right. Some might call this being pedantic, and I call it being thorough to the point of paralysis. But then it finally occurred to me, what if I just split the difference between them? Jeez, it's funny how your mind can just fixate on the little things sometimes. Before we move on, I gave the bottom lip just a little round over for added comfort when opening the drawer. I guess now we can relax. Hey Siri, play relaxing workshop music.
Now playing lo-fi beats.
That was a joke, but yeah, I guess that works.